Our next speaker, Jack McCain, is a Reserve Naval Aviator for Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 85 and graduate of the United States Naval Academy and Georgetown School of Foreign Service. He has deployed 5 times in the Pacific, Persian Gulf, and Afghanistan, where, as an Afghan Hand, he flew alongside Afghan pilots in the Blackhawk throughout southern Kandahar and Helmand. He currently serves on the board of the McCain Institute. In my pre-interview with Jack, he bluntly told me, "I don't want to talk about me." To which I responded, "You have a story to tell." Here to tell about the bravery of his Afghan counterparts and his mission as the founder of Afghan Eagle, please welcome Jack McCain.
سلام. برادرم های خواهرم های افغان. تشکر برای کمک شما و تشکر برای آواز شما. With the introduction that stole a little bit of my thunder, I'd like to say I am not here to talk about myself because my story doesn't matter. What I'm hoping to do, though, is counter a little bit of a narrative that I see very prevalent in the media, and it seems to be in the national consciousness. It is the only thing I'm qualified to talk about. I'm not a special operator. I am a pilot. I was part of a program that meant you were supposed to be as close to your Afghan counterparts as possible to work between the Afghans and the American military. I was fortunate to fly and work alongside Afghan aviators throughout Helmand, Kandahar, and Uruzgan. I'd like to say that I do know a little bit about bravery, not because I'm a pilot, but because I have seen it firsthand from the Afghans I flew with. I have countless stories to tell you about bravery that I've seen of Afghans under fire, Afghans limping aircraft home, or simply doing the right thing because they were asked to do it. But instead, I would like to tell a story that was relayed to me by, he would be mad if I called him my greatest student, but he was. And at the time, student's a funny word. He had about 5,000 combat flying hours when I met him. That's an insane number, much more than I have. We'll just call him Colonel S. He was the pilot of the Blackhawk that I would say is the last aircraft out of Helmand province as the collapse came. As I'm sitting at home watching the news, seeing the end of the 20 years of efforts of the abandonment of our Afghan allies, I get a text message that relayed the story that he had brought the Afghan commander, who can speak for himself, onto his aircraft and out of Helmand province. Took his aircraft from Helmand province to Kabul, fueled up, loaded as many of his pilots that he could onto the aircraft, and flew to the Panjshir Valley because that seemed like a logical rallying point at the time. Once he made his way there, he was basically ready to carry on the fight from that moment. There was some confusion. Some of the commanders moved different places, and he stayed himself in Panjshir, was able to scrounge enough fuel to fill the aircraft up, just one of the 2 that he had, and he loaded what he considered his most precious resource onto his aircraft to fly from Panjshir back to Kabul. His pilots and their family members were the ones that accompanied him, not his weapons systems, but his people. Under fire, he flew his aircraft back from Panjshir, flew it to coalition lines in Kabul, essentially tossed the keys to a perfectly good helicopter to his coalition counterparts, and then said, "Hey, I'm going to go find another aircraft and continue doing this until I can't anymore." It was unfortunate that at that moment the coalition broke it to him that his war was over and that they were not going to let him turn back around and fly back out. He was devastated that he could not continue flying and fighting for the cause that we asked him to fly and fight for. I tell this story because I think it is a perfect crystallization to help counter this story that the Afghans did not fight. The Afghans not only fought, but paid some 70,000 lives in the process of executing the war that we asked them to. I think that that is the single point of fact that should be used to counter the narrative that we see so prevalently portrayed in the media, in the mouths of politicians, and in the national consciousness. So with that, I only have one other small thing to say to my Afghan brothers and sisters. قلب من با شما است. من با شما هستم. امروز و فردا. آزادی برای افغانستان. تشکر.